Ivorian President Alassane Ouattara recently announced an amnesty for 800 people, including former First Lady of Côte d'Ivoire, Simone Gbagbo. The detainees had been charged with or convicted of offenses against state security arising from the post-election crisis of 2010. President Ouattara says he declared amnesty because of his commitment to peace and true reconciliation, a move observers say aimed at cooling political tension. However, critics say the move followed the publication of a leaked European Union report that contained severe criticism of the Ivorian government. Former Ivorian President Laurent Gbagbo remains on trial at the International Criminal Court in The Hague for crimes against humanity. Meanwhile, political tensions are heating up ahead of elections in 2020, and some political observers are doubting whether Ouattara will step down after 2 terms as required by the Constitution. Ivory Coast is one of West Africa's most successful and diverse economies, but its volatile political landscape combined with ongoing ethnic and land disputes makes the scheduled 2020 potentially risky. Joining me now for more discussion on the latest political climate in Ivory Coast is political analyst Nyaka Lagoke. Mr. Lagoke, welcome to Africa 54.
Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity.
First of all, what does this pardon mean for Ivorians, or is this merely political?
Yeah, it's just it's a political move because it is too late and too little because many, including me and many international observers and politicians, they asked Mr. Ouattara after he became the effective president, after he was believed to have won the election by the international community, in order to try and bring peace to the country and try to heal the wounds of the nation. But in 7 years, he prosecuted and persecuted those who had and who have decent voices. And then for 7 years, he said that there was no political prisoners, while we know that there were more than 1,000 people in prison.
But some may beg to differ with that opinion and say he's reaching out, including to those who opposed him, like the former First Lady Simone Gbagbo. What does the pardon for her mean? And do you think she might even venture into politics?
You talking about First Lady?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, she's a politician. She's a wife, she's a mother, she's a politician. She has the right to run for presidency if she wants. But the point is that you do not free 800 people, and then then the next move you make, you go to Mecca. So the conversation was not even engaged with the opponents.
But what does the pardon mean for this lady, for the former First Lady?
No, of course we are happy that she stayed in prison too long. She did not even deserve to be in prison because, again, there were 2 groups of people who fought, and then one came Gbagbo at the ICC, Blake at the ICC, the First Lady in prison, Gbagbo supporters in prison in exile, many died. And on the other side, Mr. Ouattara's warlords are there in the country and no one has been prosecuted. So it was not true justice, it was selective justice. And then to quote Dr. King, who said that true justice, justice shall not be segregated. So this is the reality on the ground.
Now, do we know if Mr. Ouattara is going to run for re-election, and what does the Constitution?
If I tell you that, I will be a psychic. Yeah. But all the signs, all the signs show that he is willing, to stay there in the name of peace. And because the ruling coalition has been divided into 3 groups. The Speaker of the House, who is the rebel leader, wants to succeed Mr. Ouattara, and Ouattara does not want him. Mr. Ouattara wants the Prime Minister, Amadou Gon Coulibaly, and then Bédié, the former president, leader of the PDCI, who supported Mr. Ouattara, that now is in opposition against Mr. Ouattara. So these are all those realities that push Mr. Ouattara under international pressure and national pressure to make that move and release the prisoners.
Now, about Laurent Gbagbo, there are some talks going on that he may be released from the ICC. If that does happen, what do you think of his political future? Do you think he will be running into politics in 2020 or whatever time he comes out?
Yes, this is a difficult question. Definitely, it's all what we hear, the signs is that if Gbagbo was released, he will have to make a point. And then because he seemed to be vindicated by history and by all the current events now. So we do not know what will happen if Gbagbo wants to run. Mr. Ouattara does not want to step down. BD wants to run. So these people were involved in the crisis, for 20 years. So no one knows what will happen for the future of Ivory Coast.
Nyaka, thank you very much. We want to know what the future looks like for Ivory Coast, but that will be next time. Nyaka Lagoke is a Pan-African political analyst.